Hi, I'm Mike Richter, and today we're going to be doing the final part of the Wealth Principles of Winners series here on this channel. Once again, this series is based loosely on this book by T Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. You can go ahead and find a link to purchase this book down in the description below. Let's get started with the principles for today. There are 4 of them. The first one is rich people manage their money well. Makes sense, right? The second principle today is going to be rich people have their money work hard for them. Pretty straightforward concept. We're going to be talking about passive income and ways to generate it and why it's important. The third principle we'll be talking about today is rich people act in spite of fear and don't let situations intimidate them out of acting. Fourth principle we'll be talking today is rich people consistently learn and grow. They are well aware that they don't know everything, and they seek out the knowledge that they need to accomplish their goals. They go to seminars, they read books, they hook up with people that are experts in their field, and they make things happen. So let's get started. First principle is rich people manage their money well. I don't know about you, but when I was going to high school, there was no money management courses whatsoever. The closest thing we had was an accounting course and a business course. And in neither of those classes do we ever address any topics associated with personal finance, managing money, balancing a checkbook, or anything useful like that. It was really just strictly associated with business, and we didn't even talk about cash flow management. That goes to show the quality of that class that was available at my high school. But I did learn a lot about the French Revolution and the War of 1812. We know how much we use that in everyday speech, right? Right? No? Okay, well, hey, that's something we learned about. That's what we needed to do at the time. But now we know that we were missing out big time on really important life lessons that we should have learned, but they were not taught to us in school. So we had to find it in some other way. Luckily for you, you've got this to go ahead and lean back on, as well as several other sources of information. Here's the deal with managing money is until you take the time to manage your money, it's very unlikely that you're going to have large pools of money available to you, because you need to be intentional with where you're telling your money to go and be intentional about what you're doing with excess money. And making sure there is excess money. That's kind of a big deal. So here's the deal. In the United States, by far the richest nation in the world, 72% of the population does not have $2,500 saved. We're talking retirement accounts, we're talking college savings, we're talking regular savings account. Nothing. That is staggering. That means only 28% of the population have $2,500 or more saved up. That means almost 3/4 of the U.S. population is living paycheck to paycheck, and that is a scary thing. And something important that we need to realize is we need to put ourselves into a situation where we are not living paycheck to paycheck. So there are a couple things that I would recommend in terms of managing your money. And the biggest thing is separating out your money and finding a way to live on as little as possible for the here and now. So I would recommend opening up 6 different accounts. 6 different accounts. And here's the deal. Is the first account is going to be your financial freedom account. So you're going to put 10% of your after-tax money into that account, and you do nothing with it other than invest in vehicles that create passive income for you so that one day you can achieve financial freedom. And if you can do more than 10%, awesome. But do yourself a favor. Pay yourself first and get at least 10% of your after-tax income into your financial freedom account. We can talk at great lengths about passive income and how to go about making it in another video. We'll touch on it briefly in this video. But know that 10% of your money should go to financial freedom. The next 10% should be for fun, right? So this is money that you're intentionally setting aside to blow. And this is things that help you to exercise your receiving muscle. We talked about being able to receive in the previous video. And one thing that you can use this fun money for is going out and spending money on things that you would not ordinarily do, like having an extravagant getaway with your wife or something like that. Something that makes you feel like $1,000,000. That way, in addition to all the other things that you're intentionally doing with your money, you still have 10% of your income going to something that is a reminder of why you're doing it in the first place. Because the long term is worth more than the here and now. The next 10% to set aside is for long-term spending. This is for things like a car or appliances or saving up a down payment for another house or whatnot, or maybe for your first house. But 10% of your after-tax income going to an account that's set aside for long-term spending, because you know that those expenses are going to come up. Cars don't last forever. I've been driving my car for a while. It's a 2002 Toyota Corolla. It's been great for me. It's been a great commuter car, but I know that one day I'm going to end up getting to about 250,000 miles on it, and I'm going to exchange it for hopefully my dream car by then. But for the here and now, the Toyota Corolla is paid off, and I'm setting aside money for long-term spending for when I need to replace it or the minivan, because that's important too. The wife and kids need to get from point A to point B and everywhere in between. The next account that you're going to open up is 10% of your after-tax income, and this is for giving. Whether you are religiously inclined, I give my tithe at my church. There's other causes that you may feel very passionate about, and you may choose to give to different causes that are really important to you. But the point is to set aside 10% of your income for giving. So not only do you get to practice your receiving muscle, but you also get to practice your giving muscle. The last account for another 10% portion is your education account. This is money that you're going to set aside for whatever courses, whatever resources and materials that you need for either your own education or your children's education or grandchildren's education, if that's something you're really concerned about right now. But for education, that's what you should set 10% aside for. That way, you're consistently investing in yourself and in your children. That way, you're able to learn and master new skills to increase your income over and over again. And that helps all of your accounts because you'll have higher income and hopefully more passive income sources coming into your coffers. And the last account is what most people use as a main checking account, and that's your necessity account. That's going to be 50% of your income. Yes, I know this is the biggest challenge that most people face is, how do I even get my ends to meet? How do I have my income match my expenses? And you're asking me to live on half of my income? Yes. Yes, the reason why I'm asking you to live on half of your income is so that you can accomplish your long-term goals as well as enjoy yourself in the moment. But make sure that you are managing that which you have so that as your income grows, you don't let it run away with you. Because most people in the United States are, for lack of a better term, wage slaves. They are stuck with a job, and the reason why they're stuck with a job is because they never let their income get higher than their expenses. Every time they get a raise, they spend more money. Every time they get a bonus, they do something crazy to blow the money. That's just a fact of life for most people in the United States and most people in many countries around the world. But here's the thing, is if it's important for us to be able to ever have financial freedom, we need to be intentional about how we use our resources so that we can use our financial freedom to free us to do the things that we really want to be doing long term. A lot of us would like to be doing things like teaching or volunteering and going out in the Peace Corps or something like that. Something that's a relatively low wage job, but high social impact, right? But a lot of people have student loans and other expenses that don't allow them to take a lower paying position that they would really enjoy much more than the position they're working in because they have bills to pay. So if you end up, one, freeing yourself from those bills to pay, and two, if you have the ability to have financial freedom because you have enough passive income to cover your expenses, then you are free to do the things that you're passionate about. And all of that comes from managing your money well. So if financial freedom is important to you, then you will find a way to be able to live on much less than what you earn. Something to think about. So let's move on to the next principle, and that is rich people make money work hard for them. So there's a lot of people that work really hard in the United States. There are a lot of people that are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet based on circumstances that are in their lives, and over time they will hopefully be able to scale back or use those extra finances to better their situation over time. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of us are working really hard and aren't getting anywhere fast because instead of spending money on things that are going to make money, we end up spending money on things that end up taking money from us. So instead of purchasing assets, we're purchasing liabilities. And here's the deal, is we want to be purchasing assets that go up in value over time and provide an income for us. And those are the kinds of things that will help us get financial freedom. And they usually fit into 2 buckets. They're either purely passive income, where it's income and you literally don't have to have any kind of involvement in it whatsoever. It just ends up paying you money over time. And examples of that are things like dividend stocks, bonds, mutual funds that pay out dividends. Those are examples of pure passive income vehicles. And the second kind of passive income vehicle is basically business income. So I would classify rental properties under this. I would say storage units. I would say car wash, things like that. These are all business entities that do not require your day-to-day involvement. So yes, there is some involvement that you have in this process, and in a lot of ways you get to control the amount of involvement you have in these processes. For example, for rental properties, I've got 8 rental properties, and I don't manage any of them personally. I have property managers that manage them on my behalf so that I can limit my day-to-day involvement with those business entities, and I'm able to focus more time on my family, focus more time on developing and building skills, and sharing things with friends of mine, and working. These are the kinds of things that end up freeing you over time, is the ability to invest in passive income sources or business income sources. And when you're investing in business income sources, finding ways to limit your direct involvement in those businesses. Another great example of kind of passive business income is having a partnership in a professional services firm. So this is what ends up really helping out lawyers that are high performing, is once they make partner in their firm, that really takes a lot of load off of their personal services that they have to put in terms of the way that they're paid. Because not only are they paid based on their performance, but they are paid based on the performance of the firm as a whole, based on their share of the partnership. So that's a really interesting thing that happens in a lot of professional services firms. Something to think about if you're in a high earning position, you might want to find a way to get a piece of that pie. Now, here's the deal with this is we're not really conditioned, most of us in the middle class and in the lower class, we're not conditioned to find passive income or to create passive income. I know that when I would ask my mother for some money back when we really had no business trying to spend money on anything frivolous whatsoever, my mother would go ahead and tell me to go out and work for it, which is the advice that most people end up getting is, hey, do you want money? Well, go out and work. But we are never taught what to do with that money once we have it, right? I've done something a little bit different with my children. I do give them that whole, hey, if you want money in the here and now, yes, go work. But I don't give them the line of, where do you think money comes from? Do you think money grows on trees? Because I tell my children that you can build money trees and the money ends up coming to them. And that's the way I'm very slowly introducing the concept of passive income to them, is that I explain it as if these passive income sources are money trees. Yes, it looks like a house on the outside, but what it really is a money tree. The house is rented to somebody else. That rent is filtered by the property management company. The property management company pays me. I pay the expenses, and I keep the rest. So it's as if that house is a money tree, because every month that house generates income for me. So that's a way that I've kind of started introducing the concept of passive income to my children. And once again, just like money management isn't something that is taught in high school, passive income definitely isn't something that's taught in high schools either. So very rarely are you going to be exposed to the idea of passive income until you start exploring personal finance and how the wealthy get to be as wealthy as they are. So with that said, let's move on to the next principle, and that's the rich act in spite of fear. Now here's the deal, is in a previous video, I went ahead and discussed how you manifest the things that you want in your life. And basically, it comes from your habits, which influence your thoughts, which influence your feelings. And the part where people end up getting hung up a lot when they know that they want to take an action to get them to a new place in life, a lot of times people fall into fear. What if it doesn't work? Or what if something bad happens? And they let that fear paralyze them, and they never move forward on something that would be a really huge growth opportunity, or maybe an opportunity for them to start building their first source of passive income. I know that any time that I was ever faced with a situation where there was significant personal growth in it for me, there was a lot of fear involved. I remember when I was buying my first rental property at a price lower than asking price, what ended up happening was I was facing rejection. I would write 10 offers and I would get one of them accepted. Or I would write 30 offers and I would get one of them accepted. And I would face rejection time after time after time after time. The first two really hurt. Like, I would write the offer and I would really hope that they would accept my offer. And when the door slammed in my face figuratively, it hurt a lot. I put myself out there. I said, look, I'm willing to purchase your property at X amount. You're asking Y amount. How can we make this work? And after getting the door shut in my face a couple of times, I said, look, the worst thing that can happen is they tell me no. And from then on, I was able to develop in that comfort zone. And that's really helped me to build significant real estate holdings in a relatively short period of time. And that was because I was willing to act in spite of my fear. Maybe you've got something going on in your life that's really holding you back from from doing things that you know would be good for you. If you want to talk about them, I would really invite you to tell me about them down in the comment section below. I'd love to have a conversation about fears and how we can move forward with things in our lives and what kind of things we can do to help overcome our fears and to grow and to be more. Now, something else in this vein is the best things in life are rarely convenient. Sure, we can go ahead and sit at our computers and play World of Warcraft or sit on the couch and watch Netflix for hours and hours and hours, and we won't really change a whole lot. Well, you could say that you don't change for the better, you don't change for the worse, but honestly, a lot of that time is going to waste. And we have the opportunity to make choices in our life to make our life better. Hey, I'm not saying that there's anything bad with spending some time on the Netflix or spending time playing World of Warcraft or anything like that. If that's something that you do for recreation and something to help you relax after a tough day, by all means, do you. But understand that actions have consequences. And if you're going to spend 12 hours a day playing World of Warcraft, well, chances are there's going to be consequences to that action, not only in the here and now, but also in the long term. So things to think about. So bottom line is, the rich act in spite of fear, even though they know that by doing something, it's going to put them out of their comfort zone, but they know that being out of their comfort zone is where they grow and how they can grow to earn more and more money and to really help more people because they've become a better person. Now, the last principle we're going to be talking about today is rich people constantly grow and learn. So you may have had this experience. When I was a teenager, I thought I knew everything. I was a know-it-all. I was one of the first people to answer all the questions in math class and in physics and all this kind of stuff. And here's the deal. For the most part, I really didn't know jack about life. And I think a lot of parents out there can really relate to this, where your kids think they know everything, but then you just kind of look at them and go, if only you knew how wrong you were. But the trick is, when we're in that state, nobody can tell us what's right or what's wrong or anything other than what we think. But the trick is, those of us who are wiser know that they're missing something fundamentally. And here's the deal, is there's a lot of times that we think that we know it all. And I know that there are a lot of things that I don't know about. And there are a lot of things that I intentionally seek out advice for. There are a lot of things that I go and seek training for, things that I seek to learn, because I need those knowledge, skills, and abilities to really deliver value to other people in my life. Now remember, there's this saying out there that says that knowledge is power. But I would disagree with that. I would say that knowledge in itself is a tool. And it's all in how you use that tool, that applied knowledge, that unlocks power. So it's not that knowledge is power, it's applied knowledge is power. Now, here's the deal. There are a lot of different ways to go about learning the things that you need to know about. There's a lot of courses that are available out there. Some people might balk at some of the costs associated with those courses or mentorship programs. I'll go ahead and let you know that I paid $5,000 once for a 10-week coaching program. But here's the deal, is after that 10-week coaching program, about a month or two later, I made $25,000 on a deal. So that $5,000 investment that I made within a couple of months paid off 5 times over. So it was well worth it to me to make that investment in myself. There are other ways to get information and knowledge that can be really helpful to you. And one of those sources is books. Down in the description below, I've got a free PDF that you can download that has a list of what I feel are the 60 best books for workers, leaders, and entrepreneurs. They cover books ranging from relationships to business to personal finance to real estate investing to personal development, a whole gamut of awesome books out there that if you were even to read 10 books from that list, you would be significantly better off for it. And in that PDF, each of the titles of the books is a link that'll take you to Amazon or to a site that you can purchase the book. By all means, go ahead and share it with people that might be excited to learn and excited to earn more as well. So go ahead and check that out in the description below. And one more thing about rich people constantly learning and growing is they understand that the order of becoming wealthy is first you need to be, so you need to be a person of character. You need to be a person that exudes positive qualities. You need to be somebody who is talented and knows their worth. Then you need to do. Now that you have all these qualities available to you, you need to execute at a very high level so that you can be compensated for your work. And then third, after you become the person that you need to be, you do the things you need to do, then you have the things that come with being and doing. A lot of people in the middle class and the lower class get it a little bit backwards. They feel like they have to have certain things so that they can do certain things. And once they've got the status symbol, once they've got the activities that they're involved in, then they've finally arrived. And they are, what they feel like somebody in high society should be. Instead of looking at it from the perspective of, first you need to be a person of character, be a person of integrity, be a person with skills and abilities, then do the things that follow up with that character and those skills to finally have the things that other people have earned with their character and their skills and abilities. So just a quick recap. We talked about 4 different principles today of how the wealthy think and how the wealthy are. The first of which was rich people manage their money well. In this section, we talked about opening up different accounts so that we can manage our money and be intentional about it. And the really big takeaway was finding a way to live on about half of your take-home income while separating out the other half of your take-home income to financial freedom account, to education, to long-term spending, to having fun. That's huge. The ability to have fun and really see why you're doing the things that you're doing. And finally, to invest in education. The next principle we talked about was rich people have their money work hard for them. This is where we talked about the principle of passive income and how the idea is money can grow on trees, but you need to be willing to build the money tree so that you can live on it and eventually achieve financial freedom. The third principle we talked about was rich people act in spite of fear. They don't let fear control them and keep them from growth opportunities. And the fourth thing that we talked about was rich people consistently learn and grow. They seek out knowledge that they need to accomplish their goals, and they find, whether it's a course, whether it's a mentorship program, whether it's coaching, whether it's a book, whether it's a friend, whether it's an expert in the field, they go out and they find the people that they need, or they find the resources, and they learn because they know that there's a lack of information, and if there's a lack of information, they won't be able to apply that lack of information, and they will not be able to execute at as high a level as they would with that information. So if you found this content to be valuable, by all means, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have anybody that might benefit from this, go ahead and share it. I'll also put a link in the comment section down below for the whole playlist, as well as a couple of other videos that are very closely related to this content, just in case this is the first video that you're watching in this series. If you'd like to see more content from this channel, by all means hit that subscribe button. And if you would, and you do want to get notifications on a regular basis for when new things come out on this channel, go ahead and click on that little bell symbol so that you can adjust your notification settings. Because without that, it's kind of hit or miss with YouTube and their system of notification. So unless you opt into notifications, you may or may not get notified on a timely basis. So thanks so much for your time. I hope you have a fantastic day. And remember, you're only one action away from the rest of your life. Choose that action wisely. Take care.